Hey, Christine Pedersen here today. I want to talk about school separation challenges. This has been coming up a lot for clients, and personally is something I experience in my home 3 mornings out of 5, right? My daughter wakes up and she says with a frown, is it a weekend day? Is it a stay-at-home day? Do I have to go to school? And of course, when I say, yep, it's a school day, she says, I don't want to go. And she falls apart. Sometimes she gets angry. She would rather be home doing her own thing. And, I don't blame her. And for some kids, this is the beginning of a very long history of waking up and not wanting to go to school. And we can dig into that later, but I was not this kid. I woke up and loved school. I loved my teachers. I loved my friends. I loved every subject but math. And I really struggle when my child wakes up and she doesn't want to go. It makes me feel like there's something wrong at her school, or there's something wrong with my parenting, that she's not skipping off into school every day. So let's talk about things that you can do to change the dynamic, because I have noticed that a few really small but mindful shifts have changed everything about the way I feel about our mornings. And I think that it's really changed the way that my 6-year-old feels about our mornings too, and going to school in general. So here's what I've done. One thing is that I've tried to get under the iceberg a little bit and figure out what it is that is so challenging for her about school. Does she need greater security at school? So stronger routines and more trust with her caregivers? That might be your kiddo. For my kiddo, it's that she needed more autonomy at school. So she wanted more free choice, and she wanted a longer amount of time to be able to do whatever she wanted. Okay, she is a very focused child and can do an activity for a very long time at home. So I had to talk a little bit with her teachers about having a pause button. So is there a way that you can go to teachers or administrators or even support staff at your school and ask for some sort of help for a small period of time during the day, or maybe just to check in with your child to help them feel special and to let them know that their needs are being considered and they are an important part of the school team? That is super helpful. With my child, it was like having a pause button, letting her know, I'm going to ask you to stop this activity right now, but you can put it in your cubby, and during free choice at the end of the day, you can come back to it. Really helped my child to know that she needed to move on, but she could come back. It wasn't just over for the day. The other thing that I learned to do was to stop bringing up the muck from the bottom of the pool, right? Like, we just spend a lot of time in the mornings asking questions about, why don't you like school? Why do you want to go? It's so much fun. Your teachers love you. You have so many friends. Like, I'm making all these arguments about school, and she's just pushing back and pushing back and pushing back. We're like just churning up the muck in the bottom of the pool. It didn't make anyone feel better, and it didn't help clear anything up. Like, I was not going to change her feeling in the morning by asking questions about why she didn't like it or trying to persuade her that she should. So first of all, let's just get really clear on how our behaviors can negatively impact our child's feeling in the morning and their ideas about school. And just stop arguing, stop asking questions that continue to bring up these negative feelings, and start shifting how you respond. So in the morning, my suggestions for response are things like, I hear that. That's a hard way to start your day. And then you move on. What do you want for breakfast? Can I help you get into your clothes for the day? Move on. Your child wakes up, says, is it a school day? Do I have to go to school? Can I stay home? And you say, oh, sounds like you're having some tough feelings. Would a hug make you feel better? Open your arms and see if they fall in, right? And you can have a sweet hug that maybe ends with some tickles, and you ask the same questions. What do you want for breakfast? Can I help you get dressed? Let's get some socks on. wear your slippers, right? Let's move on. Because I don't want to stay here and keep talking about this. It doesn't feel good. So you can choose to move on. And if you don't know what to move on to, then you might need to write yourself a note of what are some other questions or things that you can have your child move on to do in the morning. Like, what are your first parts of your morning routine? Have those things top of mind. The other thing that I've started doing is when my kiddo comes home from school, I always really try to capitalize on the things that they enjoyed. So I ask a few key questions. One is, who made you laugh today? Or what made you laugh today, right? What funny thing happened at school? Something funny always happens at school, right? And that's a great thing to really embrace at the end of the day. Who did you thank today is another one of my favorite questions. And it's cool to see how their brains change when you start having them focus on this, because they'll the first couple of days be like, I don't know, I don't remember. But the next day when someone thanks them or they thank someone, they're going to remember so they can tell you about it because they know you're going to ask. And then another question is, what are you grateful for? What did you appreciate most about school today? Now, I do not ask all three of these questions, right? Because I don't want to bombard my child and feel like they're coming home to a positivity quiz or something every day. But I try to ask one or two of these questions every day after school just to make sure that we can focus on that. And then I try to thank them. Thank you for going to school today and being part of the team. I know it's not always your favorite thing to do, but I do know that your school team, your teachers and the students and the principal, they really love and appreciate you. Your cooperation, your smile, your creativity, your silly songs. And I'm so glad that you get to be a part of that team. I hope these are helpful for you. I would love to hear some of the things that you enjoy talking about with your kiddos. What are some good questions you like to ask them after school to capitalize on that good feeling? And then in the meantime, don't judge yourself or your child's school necessarily, and get bogged down in the muck of that feeling when your child wakes up and they don't feel stoked to get on the bus and go to school. That's okay. That is normal. It doesn't mean anything is wrong with them or you. It just means it's not their first choice for activities they'd like to do for the day. And to be honest, sometimes we feel like that, right? So having some respect and appreciation for the days that we wake up and we don't necessarily want to go to work or be on top of it. We need a weekend from our weekend. So be gentle with yourself, with your kiddos, and let me know of any questions or resources. There's some really great books about separation out there we can talk about too. So let's start a chat in the comments about some other resources we could be using to help support our kids and improve the feeling around school for everyone.